Nkem sat by the edge of her bed in the cramped one-room apartment she shared with her family. Her hands were bruised, and her eyes red from crying. In her trembling hands was her father's torn shirt. The night had been long and painful, but her resolve was now stronger than her fear. "I won't let him do this to me again," she whispered to herself. The bustling noise of Lagos City outside the window seemed indifferent to her pain. Cars honked, traders called out their wares, and people rushed about their day. But Nkem's world had crumbled within the thin walls of this overcrowded apartment. Nkem's family lived in one of Lagos' many slums, where people survived day by day, doing menial jobs. Their apartment was a cramped space where privacy was a luxury. The smell of boiling rice from a neighbor's stove mixed with the stench of the open gutter outside. The constant hum of generators and the chatter of hawkers formed the background to their lives. Life in Lagos was harsh, and so was survival in this slum. Nkem's father, Chukwuma, was a bus driver known for his humor and generosity. He was the kind of man who gave free rides to his neighbors, and people greeted him warmly as he passed, earning him respect in the community. Her mother, Ngozi, sold vegetables at the market, often returning home late, exhausted from the day's hustle. Despite the struggles, Ngozi always found a way to comfort her children, singing them lullabies in Igbo or saving a small piece of meat for Nkem after a long day. Nkem, the eldest of 3 children, was particularly close to her mother. She often helped her mother at the market after school. On quiet evenings, they would sit together, peeling cassava or sorting grains, as Ngozi shared stories of her own childhood. These moments were Nkem's sanctuary, a rare break from the chaos of their home. But even within the walls of their shared room, there was no escaping Chukwuma's temper. He was quick to anger, often shouting at Ngozi or punishing Nkem for minor mistakes. Yet, nothing could have prepared Nkem for what he did. Ngozi had to travel to her village for a funeral, leaving Nkem to manage the house and take care of her younger siblings. That evening, after putting her siblings to bed, Nkem sat in the corner of the room, reading by the dim light of a kerosene lamp. The scent of the oil mixed with the faint odor of damp clothes. Chukwuma came home late, reeking of alcohol. His steps were heavy as he stumbled inside, muttering to himself. Nkem tried to make herself invisible, pretending to focus on her book. "Nkem, come here," he said, his voice slurred but firm. She hesitated, fear knotting her stomach, but obeyed, thinking he might need water or food. Instead, he grabbed her wrist, his grip tight and unrelenting. "Papa, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You'll do as I say," he growled, his breath reeking of gin. Terror coursed through her veins. She tried to pull away, her heart pounding, but he was too strong. As he pushed her down, tears streamed down her face. Fear turned into disbelief and then into betrayal. This was her father, the man meant to protect her, shattering her trust in the most unimaginable way. When it was over, Nkem lay curled on the floor, too numb to cry. The walls of the apartment seemed to close in on her, the sounds of the city mocking her silence. Nkem's life changed after that night. Her once lively laughter was replaced by a haunting quiet. At school, she stared blankly at the blackboard, her teacher's words blurring into a dull hum. At home, she avoided her father and spoke only when necessary. Each time Ngozi asked if something was wrong, Nkem shook her head, afraid of the consequences of speaking out. Anytime Nkem follows her mother to the market, she was always lost in thought. Her mother customers who knew her as a lively girl started to talk. "Chukwuma's daughter is always so quiet these days," they said. Others dismissed it as teenage rebellion, refusing to question further. In a culture where family matters were private, breaking the silence was unthinkable. Unfortunately, the abuse continued, each time leaving her more broken. Chukwuma warned her, "If you tell anyone, I'll kill you. Don't forget who feeds you and your siblings." Nkem believed him. She felt trapped, her voice silenced by fear and shame. One afternoon, as Nkem sat quietly during lunch at school, her best friend Ada approached her. "Nkem, you've changed. What's wrong?" Ada asked, concern etched on her face. "Nothing," Nkem replied, but her voice cracked. Ada didn't let it go. She grabbed Nkem's hand and pulled her aside. "Talk to me. I know something's wrong." The floodgates opened. Through sobs, Nkem told Ada everything. Ada's eyes widened in horror. "We have to tell someone," she said. "I can't. He'll hurt me. He'll hurt my siblings," Nkem whispered, trembling. Ada squeezed her hand. "You don't have to go through this alone. I'll help you." That night, Chukwuma came home drunk again. When he tried to approach Nkem, she felt a surge of anger and desperation. She grabbed a broken glass bottle from the corner and slashed his arm, her hands shaking but resolute. She ran out of the apartment, her feet pounding against the pavement as she made her way to the police station. Gasping for breath, she told the officer on duty everything. The officer looked at her bruises and torn clothes and believed her, though he warned her, "This won't be easy." Chukwuma was arrested the next morning. The news spread like wildfire. Some neighbors defended him, saying, "Chukwuma? Impossible." Others admitted they had seen signs of his temper but had never imagined this. Ngozi was devastated when she returned and learned the truth. She blamed herself but stood by Nkem, determined to see justice served. The courtroom became a battleground. Ngozi's face looks pale but determined as she sat beside Nkem. Chukwuma's lawyer tried to paint Nkem as a liar, questioning her motives. The neighbor even testified, claiming, "Chukwuma is a good man. He'd never harm his daughter." But then came Ada, who recounted Nkem's confession, and a doctor who provided evidence of her injuries. Chukwuma was asked to speak, and when Nkem stood to confront him, her voice did not waver. "Why, Papa?" she asked, her words echoing in the silent courtroom. Chukwuma had no answer. In the end, Chukwuma was sentenced to life imprisonment. Immediately Ngozi broke down in tears. After the trial, as Chukwuma was led away, Ngozi confronted him, her voice trembling with anger and pain. "You destroyed our family," she said. Nkem's story didn't end with her father's imprisonment. With the help of a women's advocacy group, she began visiting schools, sharing her story, and teaching girls about their rights. She counseled survivors, giving them the strength to speak up. One day, standing before a crowd of young girls, Nkem spoke with conviction. "You are not alone. Your voice matters." The crowd erupted in applause, and Nkem smiled, knowing her pain had found purpose. Though the scars of her past remained, Nkem found purpose in helping others. She dreamed of becoming a lawyer so she could fight for justice for those who couldn't fight for themselves. In the bustling streets of Lagos, her voice became a beacon of hope, proving that even in the darkest corners, light could find its way. So guys, this is where I am going to be ending this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.